Okay, imagine this. You're a famous warrior, just moments away from the biggest, most important battle of your entire life. You look out across the field and you see your own family, your teachers, your friends, all on the other side, and you put down your weapon. Well, this exact crisis is what kicks off one of the world's most incredible spiritual texts, the Bhagavad Gita.
So, the scene is set on the massive battlefield of Kurukshetra. You can almost feel it, right? The dust in the air, the sound of thousands of soldiers and elephants, the sheer weight of what's about to go down. On one side, you have the Pandavas, who are fighting for what's rightfully theirs, and on the other, their own cousins, the Kauravas, who've stolen their kingdom. This is way more than just a fight for land. It's a battle for the very soul of a civilization.
Leading the Pandava army is our hero, Arjuna. This guy is one of the greatest warriors of his time. But right as the horns are about to sound, the gravity of it all just hits him like a ton of bricks. He turns to his charioteer, who, by the way, is actually the divine guide Krishna in disguise, and basically says, "I can't do this. I can't fight."
And this, right here, is the central question that the entire Gita revolves around. Let's be clear, this is not about cowardice. Arjuna is a proven hero, through and through. So what is going on? Why would he, at this most critical moment, refuse to do the one thing he's been trained his whole life to do?
To really get the answer, we have to get inside Arjuna's head. You see, this isn't just some vague, bad feeling he's got. Oh no. He has a whole list of very specific and honestly pretty logical-sounding reasons for why this war is a catastrophic mistake.
What's so interesting here is just how practical his concerns are. He's worried that killing the family elders will cause the entire social structure to just fall apart. He thinks family traditions will be lost, and that'll lead to a total breakdown in morality. He even predicts that the women of the family will be left unprotected, leading to chaos. And on top of all of that, he is absolutely terrified of the personal sin he'll get from killing his own relatives and teachers.
Now here is the most crucial point, and it's the key to everything that follows. Every single one of Arjuna's arguments comes from one single fundamental misunderstanding. He's looking at everyone, including himself, as just their physical bodies. All his grief, all his fear is for the destruction of these temporary shells. And this is the very idea that Krishna is about to completely turn on its head.
So, in response, Krishna doesn't start talking about battle strategy. Nope, he goes way, way deeper. He completely shifts the frame of reference, moving from the temporary body to the eternal self. This is his first and most foundational teaching.
Krishna introduces this incredible concept of the Atma, or the soul. He explains that the real self isn't the body that's born and that dies. The real you, he says, is the conscious, eternal spark of life inside the body, and that can never, ever be destroyed. This slide really just lays out the two completely opposite worldviews. You've got Arjuna's view, where death is the final, tragic end, and it leads to all this grief. Then you have Krishna's view, where death is just a transition. The soul simply sheds an old body and gets a new one, kind of like we change our clothes. And from this higher perspective, Krishna says there's actually no reason to grieve at all.
This is one of the most powerful and famous verses in the whole Gita. It just drives home the point that the soul is absolutely indestructible. It doesn't matter what happens to the physical body on that battlefield. The true self, the Atma, is completely untouched and unharmed.
Okay, so understanding that we are the eternal soul, that's step one. A pretty big step, right? But Krishna doesn't stop there. He then explains how that knowledge should actually guide our actions in the real world. And he does this through the concept of duty. This is where the philosophy gets super practical.
And this brings us to another huge concept, dharma. Now, dharma isn't just some vague idea of doing the right thing. It's way more specific. It refers to the prescribed duties that perfectly align with our own nature. Think of it this way. A doctor's dharma is to heal. A teacher's is to teach. It's about finding your unique part to play in the big picture and then doing it with everything you've got.
And for Arjuna, his dharma is crystal clear. He's a kshatriya, a warrior, a leader. His sacred duty is to protect the innocent and uphold justice. So this war, which is being fought to get back a stolen kingdom and restore order, well, it falls squarely inside his dharma.
And here is where Krishna just flips Arjuna's logic completely upside down. Remember how Arjuna was so afraid of the sin he'd get from fighting? Well, Krishna points out that there's also a sin in not fighting. It's the sin of abandoning your sacred duty. So in this case, sitting on the sidelines isn't the safe choice. It's a failure of dharma that will bring both spiritual consequences and total disgrace.
So how do you square these two ideas, right? How do you perform a really difficult, even violent duty while still being spiritually aware? Well, Krishna now puts it all together. He presents the ultimate solution, a path that combines knowing about the soul with performing your duty.
And this is the path of karma yoga, the yoga of action. It's basically a 4-step process. First, know who you really are. Second, do your duty. Third, and this is the absolute game changer, act without being attached to the results. Don't worry about winning or losing, profit or loss. And finally, dedicate everything you do to a higher purpose. See, it's not about what you do, but how and why you do it.
So, Krishna finally reveals that the real problem was never the fighting itself. The trap was Arjuna's attachment to how things would turn out, his personal desire to have a happy reunion with his family, and his personal fear of sin. By shifting his mindset from what's in it for me to how can I best serve my duty, the whole problem just dissolves. And this profound teaching just completely shatters Arjuna's confusion. It's like a giant light has just been switched on in a dark room. All his grief, all his doubt, it just melts away, and in its place is this amazing clarity and a new sense of purpose.
And here it is, Arjuna's final response. He completely gets it. He accepts Krishna's wisdom. He says, "My illusion is gone, my doubt is gone." And he picks up his bow again, not because he's angry or wants to win, but because it is his duty, an act of service. The warrior who was totally paralyzed by doubt is now ready to face his destiny.
And that leaves us with a question that is just as powerful for us today. I mean, we all face these moments, don't we? When our personal feelings, our fears, our attachments, our wants are in direct conflict with what we know we're supposed to do. The Gita suggests that the way to find clarity isn't to run away from our duty, but to elevate our consciousness. So what does that mean for you in the battles that you face in your own life?